Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone you love and seen fear? Fear caused by your own anger. Or maybe you shouted something you wish you could take back, slammed a door, or broke something in a moment of rage. And afterwards, you felt that sinking feeling. If that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. But here's the thing. There's a line between anger and abuse. And once you cross it, the damage can change lives forever. Hello, I'm Alistair Dews, and over the past 30 years, I've taught more than 15,000 men and women to control their anger, master their emotions, and create calmer, happier, and more loving relationships. In this time, I've seen many families fall apart when anger issues were ignored. And I've seen the incredible healing that people achieve when they find the courage to get help. So if you recognize yourself in what I share today, hear this: you're not alone. And admitting there's a problem is one of the bravest steps you'll ever take. Now, before we dive in, here's a quick warning. I'm going to talk today about sensitive issues, including emotional abuse, physical abuse, and even sexual abuse. If you're worried about your own behavior or you're experiencing abuse, I've linked to some helpful resources below. And if you want to support others, simply drop a heart emoji in the comments. Let's make this a space of support, encouragement, and zero judgment. So let's start with something most people don't realize. Abuse almost never begins physically. It usually begins quietly, with words or with silence, or with little acts of control that seem harmless at first. In fact, 95% of physically abusive relationships begin with emotional or verbal abuse. Most people don't recognize they're being abusive until the damage is done. And many people endure emotional abuse for years before it escalates into physical abuse. And here's a gut check. If someone replayed your worst argument, would you be proud of how you acted? Would you want your kids to see it? If not, that's your sign. It's time for a change. Okay, now to really understand this, let's walk you through the 5 types of abuse that destroy relationships. Type 1 is verbal abuse. This is often where abuse starts. Name-calling, constant criticism, threats, blaming. A client of mine, Mark, once told me, "I thought I was just venting. I didn't realize I was crushing my wife's confidence with every word." Type 2, emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is harder to see, but just as painful. Examples of emotional abuse include isolating your partner, or guilt tripping, or withholding affection, or monitoring their behavior. A partner of a client of mine, Sarah, said, "He convinced me no one cared about me but him. By the time I realized what he was doing, I had no one left." Type 3, psychological abuse. Now, psychological abuse is about breaking someone's reality. Examples include gaslighting, or using silent treatment, or rewriting history. A client of mine, Tom, said, "I'd hide her things, then act like she was losing her mind. I was making her doubt her own reality." Type 4, physical abuse. Now, this is what most people picture when they hear the word abuse. Examples include throwing things, or pushing your partner, or punching walls, or physical intimidation. But remember, physical abuse rarely starts with a punch. It often begins with smaller acts, such as grabbing another person, blocking them, or breaking things. Next, type 5, sexual abuse. Sexual abuse involves any non-consensual sexual act or behavior, and is often used as a means of exerting power and control over another person. Examples of sexual abuse include forcing your partner into sexual activity they do not want, persistent pressure or guilt around sex, and taking intimate photos without their permission. Sexual abuse is one of the deepest violations of trust there is. Okay, now that you understand these 5 types of abuse, here's something important. Abuse and violence are not separate. In fact, abuse is violence. For example, I often hear, "I've yelled, but I've never hit anyone," However, emotional scars can run deeper than physical ones. Jennifer, a partner of a client of mine, told me, "The bruise is healed, but I still hear his voice in my head, telling me I'm worthless. The emotional pain never leaves." And science confirms this. Emotional abuse activates the same pain centers in the brain as physical injury. Your brain literally can't tell the difference. So if you've ever shouted, intimidated, or manipulated someone, you've crossed the line into violence. Okay, now that you understand what abuse and violence are, why does abuse happen? Surprisingly, abuse usually isn't just about anger. It can be about many things. For many people, it is about control. For others, they may be repeating patterns they grew up with. Other people lash out when they feel powerless. Some people never learned healthy communication. But let's be clear, understanding why you get abusive never excuses the behavior. It only points to what needs to change. The good news, however, is that if you've acted abusively in the past, you have the power to make a different choice today. So, how do you make this powerful choice? I often break this process down into 4 steps. Step 1 is to be honest with yourself. No minimizing and no excuses. Step 2 is to take responsibility. Apologize sincerely for your abusive behavior. Step away in the future if you feel yourself losing control. Step 3 is to seek help. This might mean seeing a counselor, a support service, or enrolling in an anger management group. And step 4 is to learn new skills such as communication, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution. These skills are very learnable and they change everything. Now, if you're the one experiencing abuse, please know this. You are not to blame. Abuse is always about the abuser's need for power or control. It's never your fault. You deserve respect, you deserve kindness, and above all, you deserve safety. Reach out to a trusted friend, a counselor, or a support service. Your well-being matters more than keeping the peace. Finally, if you are acting in abusive ways, know that change is possible. I've seen it happen countless times. David, for example, threw a plate at the wall during an argument with his wife. He came to me terrified of losing his family. 2 years later, David said to me, "I haven't raised my voice once in the last 2 years. My wife feels safe with me again. That means everything." So what made the difference? David asked for help before it was too late. So if you have acted in abusive or violent ways in the past, right now you have 2 options. Option 1 is to keep doing what you've always done and hope things magically get better. And spoiler alert, they won't. Or option 2 is to admit there's a problem, take action, and start building the safe, respectful, and loving relationships you and your family deserve. So, which one will you choose? Now, if you're ready to take control of your anger and stop it from becoming abuse or violence, head over to angersecrets.com/training for a powerful free training on how to break the anger cycle. This is the same training I've used to help thousands of people to transform their lives. Don't wait until it's too late. And if this video has been helpful, subscribe for weekly videos on how to master your anger. And finally, let me know in the comments, what's one thing you'll do differently after watching this video? And if you want to go even deeper, watch the next video, 5 dangerous myths about anger that keep you stuck. It reveals the hidden beliefs that keep people stuck and how to finally break free. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.